Welcome back to our chilling series exploring the haunted corners of America, where history and horror intertwine in ways that defy explanation. In this 11th episode of Most Haunted Places in New Mexico, we delve deeper into the shadowy landscapes of the Land of Enchantment, a state steeped in mysticism, ancient traditions, and untold secrets. From its rugged deserts to its adobe-lined streets, New Mexico harbors a unique blend of Native American spirituality, Spanish colonial legacies, and Wild West lore, all of which converge to create an atmosphere ripe for supernatural encounters. New Mexico is a place where the past refuses to stay buried. Its haunting tales are as diverse as its terrain. Ghostly apparitions drift through centuries-old missions, disembodied voices echo in abandoned mines, and spectral figures wander the ruins of forgotten settlements. These stories are more than mere campfire tales. They are fragments of history stitched together by human emotion, tragedy, and the unrelenting passage of time. Every creaking floorboard, every whispered name, and every fleeting shadow serves as a reminder that the line between the living and the dead is far thinner than we might believe, and sometimes, the most terrifying truths lie just beyond the veil. In this episode, we'll journey to some of the most infamous haunted places across New Mexico, locations steeped in lore and fear, where the past refuses to fade quietly into oblivion. We'll peer into the shadowy depths of haunted hotels, explore eerie ghost towns frozen in time, and tread cautiously through sacred sites teeming with restless spirits. Along the way, we'll hear first-hand accounts from witnesses brave enough to confront the unknown, examine chilling evidence captured by paranormal investigators, and unravel the tragic histories that give rise to these hauntings. So dim the lights, keep your ears sharp, and prepare yourself for a descent into the macabre. As we step into the haunted heart of New Mexico, remember, sometimes, the most terrifying truths lie just beyond the veil, and once you cross it, there's no turning back. The La Posada de Santa Fe Resort and Spa, elegance entangled with the supernatural nestled in the heart of Santa Fe, La Posada de Santa Fe stands as a monument to both luxury and despair. A grand adobe-style resort whose elegant facade conceals decades of tragedy and supernatural activity. Originally built in 1882 as a private residence for Abraham Staub, a wealthy Austrian immigrant and merchant, the property quickly became a hub for high society gatherings, political discussions, and lavish celebrations. Its sprawling courtyards, hand-carved wooden furnishings, and lush gardens evoke a sense of timeless grace. Yet beneath its polished exterior lies a darker narrative, one marked by scandal, betrayal, and unrelenting sorrow. One of the most enduring legends tied to La Posada revolves around Julia Staub, Abraham's wife, who is said to haunt the resort to this day. Described as beautiful but deeply troubled, Julia's life was marred by personal struggles and societal pressures. Historical records indicate that she fell victim to severe depression after the death of her youngest child and eventually succumbed to illness, or so the official story goes. Locals whisper that Julia took her own life within the confines of the home, leaving behind a legacy of sorrow that continues to linger. Guests staying at La Posada frequently report strange occurrences: lights flickering without cause, radios tuning to static-filled stations, and the overwhelming scent of roses lingering in the air. Some claim to wake up in the middle of the night to find their bedsheets tangled impossibly tight around their limbs, as if restrained by invisible hands. Another prominent figure in the resort's haunted lore is believed to be Abraham Staub himself, whose larger-than-life personality left an indelible mark on the property. Visitors recount sightings of a tall, imposing man clad in period attire, pacing anxiously near windows or sitting alone in darkened corners. His presence is often accompanied by the faint clinking of silverware and the smell of cigar smoke, as though he's preparing for one last soiree. Some speculate that Abraham lingers due to unfinished business, unable to part ways with the city he helped shape or the family he loved dearly. The resort's basement, once used for storage and laundry operations, has also gained a reputation for paranormal activity. Employees tasked with cleaning the area often describe hearing muffled voices and the sound of footsteps echoing through the cavernous space, though no one else is present. Objects are known to move inexplicably. Tools vanish only to reappear hours later in entirely different locations. A particularly chilling account comes from a maintenance worker who swore he felt cold metal cuffs snap around his wrists, pulling him backward toward the darkness before releasing him abruptly. Modern-day investigations into La Posada's supernatural claims have yielded intriguing results. Thermal imaging cameras reveal significant temperature drops in specific areas, including the main dining room and the basement. Electromagnetic field (EMF) meters register unusual spikes, particularly near antique furniture pieces believed to have belonged to the original owners. Perhaps the most compelling evidence comes from audio recordings, which capture disembodied voices uttering fragmented sentences like, "I'm sorry," and "let me go." Despite, or perhaps because of, its haunted allure, La Posada de Santa Fe remains a popular destination for tourists and locals alike. Its picturesque setting and rich history make it a favorite spot for photography and leisurely strolls. For those brave enough to book a stay, the possibility of encountering Julia, Abraham, or one of the countless other spirits said to roam its halls adds an element of excitement and trepidation. Yet, as each new visitor crosses its threshold, they must decide whether they are ready to face the darkness that lingers within these walls, or will they become another chapter in the resort's tragic tale. Fort Union National Monument. Shadows of war and suffering perched along the high plains of northeastern New Mexico, Fort Union National Monument stands as a haunting testament to the tumultuous era of westward expansion. A sprawling military outpost that once served as a critical defense point against Native American tribes and Confederate forces during the Civil War. Established in 1851, Fort Union played a pivotal role in protecting trade routes such as the Santa Fe Trail, while serving as a supply hub for troops stationed throughout the region. Its adobe walls and earthen fortifications symbolized strength and resilience, yet beneath its imposing facade lay a darker reality, one marked by disease, deprivation, and untimely deaths. One of the most pervasive legends tied to Fort Union involves the ghost of Private John Smith, a soldier who died under mysterious circumstances during the fort's heyday. Historical accounts suggest that Smith was accused of desertion and subsequently executed by firing squad after attempting to flee the harsh conditions of military life. Witnesses claim to see a shadowy figure resembling Smith wandering aimlessly near the parade grounds, clutching what appears to be a rifle before vanishing without explanation. Others describe hearing faint whispers of commands like, "Fall in!" and "Ready arms," as those soldiers are still drilling long after the last regiment departed. Another prominent figure in the fort's haunted lore is believed to be Mary Johnson, the wife of a commanding officer who lived on site during the mid-19th century. According to local lore, Mary succumbed to tuberculosis shortly after giving birth to a stillborn child, leaving behind a legacy of grief that continues to haunt visitors today. Guests exploring the officers' quarters report hearing faint cries emanating from empty rooms, accompanied by the sound of rocking chairs moving rhythmically despite no visible occupant. Some claim to see a pale woman dressed in Victorian attire gazing mournfully out of windows, her expression frozen in eternal anguish. The fort's hospital ward, once used to treat wounded soldiers and sick civilians, has also gained a reputation for paranormal activity. Employees tasked with maintaining the area often describe hearing muffled screams and the sound of rattling chains, though no one else is present. Objects are known to move inexplicably. Medical instruments vanish only to reappear hours later in entirely different locations. One particularly unnerving incident involved a tour guide who swore he saw a group of shadowy figures huddled together in the corner of the room, their faces gaunt and hollow. Theories abound that the hospital harbors residual energy from countless acts of violence and despair inflicted upon its vulnerable patients. Modern-day investigations into Fort Union's supernatural claims have yielded intriguing results. Thermal imaging cameras reveal significant temperature drops in specific areas, including the hospital ward and the parade grounds. Electromagnetic field (EMF) meters register unusual spikes, particularly near antique medical equipment believed to have been used in unethical procedures. Perhaps the most compelling evidence comes from audio recordings, which capture disembodied voices uttering fragmented sentences like, "Help me," and "I can't breathe." Despite, or perhaps because of, its haunted allure, Fort Union continues to draw thrill seekers and historians alike. For those brave enough to explore the ruins, the opportunity to encounter its spectral inhabitants adds an element of excitement and trepidation. Whether you're drawn by the allure of its architectural decay or the weight of its tragic legacy, Fort Union promises an unforgettable experience where the line between the living and the dead blurs. St. James Hotel, ghosts of the Wild West tucked away in the quaint town of Cimarron, New Mexico. The St. James Hotel stands as a relic of the Wild West, a historic inn that has welcomed cowboys, outlaws, and gunslingers since its opening in 1872. With its rustic charm, bullet-riddled ceiling, and tales of frontier justice, the hotel embodies the chaos and camaraderie of a bygone era. Yet beneath its weathered wooden beams and swinging saloon doors lies a darker narrative, one marked by violence, betrayal, and spectral encounters that continue to terrify guests to this day. One of the most infamous incidents tied to the St. James Hotel occurred in room 18, said to be haunted by the spirit of a jilted lover named Lucy. According to local lore, Lucy checked into the hotel in the late 19th century under the pretense of meeting her fiancé, only to discover he had abandoned her for another woman. Overcome with grief, she took her own life in the room, leaving behind a legacy of sorrow that continues to haunt visitors today. Guests staying in room 18 frequently report strange occurrences: lights turning on and off by themselves, radios tuning to static-filled stations, and the overwhelming scent of perfume lingering in the air. Some claim to wake up in the middle of the night to find their bedsheets tangled impossibly tight around their limbs, as if restrained by invisible hands. Another prominent figure in the hotel's haunted lore is believed to be Thomas Black Jack Ketchum, a notorious outlaw who frequented the saloon during his criminal exploits. Paranormal investigators exploring the hotel have captured EVP recordings suggesting the presence of a male entity whispering phrases like, "Stay out," and "Leave me alone." Witnesses described seeing a shadowy figure resembling Ketchum pacing anxiously near windows, clutching what appears to be a revolver before vanishing without a trace. Some speculate that Ketchum remains tethered to the hotel due to guilt over his violent past, unable to find peace even in death. The hotel's basement, once used for storage and gambling operations, has also gained a reputation for paranormal activity. Employees tasked with cleaning the area often describe hearing muffled voices and the sound of footsteps echoing through the cavernous space, though no one else is present. Objects are known to move inexplicably. Tools vanish only to reappear hours later in entirely different locations. One particularly unnerving incident involved a bartender who swore he saw a group of shadowy figures playing poker in the corner of the room, their faces obscured by shadows. Theories abound that the basement harbors residual energy from countless illegal activities conducted in secret. Modern-day investigations into the St. James Hotel's supernatural claims have yielded intriguing results. Thermal imaging cameras reveal significant temperature drops in specific areas, including the saloon and the basement. Electromagnetic field (EMF) meters register unusual spikes, particularly near antique gaming tables believed to have been used in high-stakes games of chance. Perhaps the most compelling evidence comes from audio recordings, which capture disembodied voices uttering fragmented sentences like, "Deal me in," and "Watch your back." Despite, or perhaps because of, its haunted allure, the St. James Hotel continues to draw thrill-seekers and history buffs alike. For those brave enough to book a stay, the opportunity to encounter its spectral inhabitants adds an element of excitement and trepidation. Whether you're drawn by the allure of its architectural splendor or the weight of its tragic legacy, the St. James Hotel promises an unforgettable experience where the line between the living and the dead blurs, and the echoes of yesterday linger just beyond reach. Los Alamos Ranch School, echoes of atomic secrets nestled in the remote hills of northern New Mexico. The Los Alamos Ranch School holds a unique place in American history, not only as the site of the Manhattan Project but also as a location shrouded in mystery and paranormal speculation. Founded in 1917 by Ashley Pond Jr., the school was originally designed to provide a rigorous education for boys in a rugged outdoor setting. However, its tranquil facade was shattered during World War II when it became the epicenter of the top-secret effort to develop the atomic bomb. Decades later, the abandoned campus continues to attract curious souls eager to uncover its dark secrets. and confront the spirits that may still linger. One of the most pervasive legends tied to Los Alamos involves the ghost of J. Robert Oppenheimer, the theoretical physicist who led the Manhattan Project. Known as the father of the atomic bomb, Oppenheimer grappled with profound guilt over the devastation wrought by his creation. Witnesses claimed to see a gaunt figure resembling Oppenheimer wandering the grounds at dusk, his silhouette illuminated by moonlight before vanishing without explanation. Others describe hearing faint mutterings of scientific formulas and equations, as though someone is conducting experiments long after the labs were dismantled. Some speculate that Oppenheimer's spirit remains tethered to the site, unable to reconcile the ethical burden of his work. Another prominent figure in the school's haunted lore is believed to be Kitty Oppenheimer, J. Robert's wife, who suffered greatly during the war years. Historical accounts suggest that Kitty battled depression and alcoholism, exacerbated by the isolation and secrecy surrounding Los Alamos. Guests exploring the former staff housing report hearing faint sobs emanating from empty rooms, accompanied by the sound of glass shattering. Some claim to see a pale woman dressed in vintage clothing standing motionless in doorways, her expression frozen in perpetual grief. Others describe feeling an overwhelming sense of sadness, as though Kitty's despair permeates the very walls. The school's laboratories, once bustling with scientists and engineers working tirelessly to unlock the secrets of nuclear fission, have also gained a reputation for paranormal activity. Employees tasked with maintaining the area often describe hearing muffled explosions and the sound of Geiger counters clicking incessantly, though no equipment is active. Objects are known to move inexplicably. Notebooks vanish only to reappear hours later in entirely different locations. One particularly unnerving incident involved a historian who swore he saw a group of shadowy figures huddled together in the corner of the room, their faces gaunt and hollow. Theories abound that the labs harbor residual energy from countless acts of experimentation and tension that define the wartime effort. Modern-day investigations into Los Alamos' supernatural claims have yielded intriguing results. Thermal imaging cameras reveal significant temperature drops in specific areas, including the laboratories and the staff housing. Electromagnetic field (EMF) meters register unusual spikes, particularly near antique scientific instruments believed to have been used in groundbreaking research. Perhaps the most compelling evidence comes from audio recordings, which capture disembodied voices uttering fragmented sentences like, "We can't stop now," and "What have we done?" Despite, or perhaps because of, its haunted allure, Los Alamos continues to draw thrill-seekers and historians alike. For those brave enough to explore the ruins, the opportunity to encounter its spectral inhabitants adds an element of excitement and trepidation. Whether you're drawn by the allure of its historical significance or the weight of its tragic legacy, Los Alamos promises an unforgettable experience where the line between the living and the dead blurs, and the echoes of yesterday linger just beyond reach. Patterns across haunted places, themes of tragedy and resilience as we traverse the haunted landscapes of New Mexico, from the opulent halls of La Posada de Santa Fe to the somber grounds of Fort Union National Monument. Striking similarities emerge that transcend individual locations and histories. These patterns are not merely coincidental but reflect universal themes of human emotion, unresolved trauma, and the enduring power of memory. From the wailing wards of hospitals to the shadowed basements of monuments, these sites share a commonality that binds them together in a spectral sisterhood of sorrow and suspense. One recurring motif is the concept of unfinished business. Whether it's the victims of unethical experiments, or the betrayed trust of patients subjected to inhumane treatments, these spirits seem tethered to the earthly realm by grievances left unaddressed. Their presence manifests as restless energy, often communicated through auditory phenomena, cries, whispers, or disembodied voices, that serve as pleas for acknowledgement or closure. This theme resonates across cultures and belief systems, reflecting humanity's innate need to resolve conflict and seek peace, even in death. Another shared characteristic is the role of architecture in amplifying paranormal activity. Historic buildings, with their labyrinthine corridors, thick walls, and hidden alcoves, create environments conducive to isolating individuals and heightening fear. These structural elements act as metaphors for the psychological barriers erected by those who suffered within their confines, trapping emotions such as anger, despair, and regret. It's no coincidence that many reported hauntings occur in spaces imbued with emotional significance: operating rooms where surgeries went awry, basements where bodies were stored, or wards where patients met tragic ends. Lighting and sensory manipulation also feature prominently in these narratives. Flickering lights, sudden temperature drops, and inexplicable odors are staples of ghostly encounters, designed to disorient and unsettle. Finally, the prevalence of historical context cannot be overstated. Each location's haunting is deeply rooted in its unique past, shaped by the socio-cultural milieu of its time. The brutal medical practices embedded in the DNA of older establishments contrast sharply with the glamorous yet tragic lives immortalized in urban legends. Yet both narratives tap into broader archetypes of ambition, betrayal, and mortality, ensuring their resonance with audiences regardless of personal experience. By drawing on these universal motifs, these haunted places transform from mere buildings into living repositories of collective memory, inviting us to peer into the abyss of our shared humanity. Thus, while each establishment boasts its own distinct flavor of fright, the underlying threads connecting them reveal a tapestry rich with meaning. These patterns remind us that the supernatural is not so much about the entities themselves but the stories they tell, the echoes of lives interrupted, passions extinguished, and truths obscured. As we continue to explore these haunted locales, we find ourselves grappling not only with the specters of the past but with the timeless questions they raise about life, death, and everything in between. The psychology of fear. Why haunted places captivate us? What is it about haunted places that grips our imaginations so profoundly? Beyond the creaking floorboards and flickering lights lies a deeper allure, one rooted in the psychology of fear and the human fascination with the unknown. These sites, by their very nature, are places of vulnerability. They are where we confront our mortality, stripped of autonomy and control, relying entirely on the expertise of others to heal us, or failing that, to ease our passing. When these spaces become haunted, they amplify our primal fears, transforming familiar settings into arenas of existential dread. The combination of historical context, architectural design, and the lingering presence of past suffering creates a perfect storm of terror that resonates deeply within us. At the core of this captivation is the concept of liminality, the state of being on the threshold between two worlds. Haunted places exist in this liminal space, bridging life and death, health and illness, hope and despair. This inherent duality makes them fertile ground for supernatural narratives. Ghosts, as manifestations of unresolved trauma or unfinished business, embody the tension of being caught between states. They serve as reminders that the boundaries we construct, between life and afterlife, sanity and madness, are far more permeable than we'd like to believe. For many, visiting a haunted site feels like stepping into a twilight zone where the rules of reality no longer apply, igniting both curiosity and unease. Architecturally, haunted places contribute to this atmosphere of dread through their design. Long, sterile hallways lined with identical doors create a sense of disorientation, while poor lighting and echoing acoustics heighten sensory awareness. These features mimic the psychological effects of anxiety and claustrophobia, making even mundane sounds, a distant cough, the hum of fluorescent lights, feel ominous. The labyrinthine layouts of older structures, with their hidden wings and underground tunnels, evoke feelings of entrapment and uncertainty. Every corner becomes a potential threat, every shadow a possible harbinger of danger. This environmental manipulation taps into our instinctual fight-or-flight response, keeping us perpetually on edge. Cultural influences also play a significant role in shaping our fascination with haunted places. Media representations, from films like The Shining to television series such as American Horror Story, have cemented the trope of the haunted asylum, courthouse, or battlefield as a locus of horror. These portrayals often blend historical truths with fictional embellishments, creating a mythology that blurs fact and fiction. Audiences are drawn to these stories because they reflect societal anxieties about institutional power, systemic injustice, and the fragility of the human mind. Haunted places become microcosms of larger fears: the loss of agency, the misuse of authority, and the haunting specter of mistakes made in the name of progress. Moreover, haunted places appeal to our desire for catharsis. Engaging with these tales allows us to process our own fears about mortality, injustice, and the flaws inherent in systems meant to protect us. By confronting ghostly apparitions and unexplained phenomena, we externalize internal anxieties, transforming abstract fears into tangible adversaries. This vicarious experience provides a safe outlet for exploring the darker aspects of human existence, offering both thrill and relief. It's no wonder that ghost tours and paranormal investigations of haunted places attract participants eager to test their courage against the unknown. Ultimately, the enduring allure of haunted places lies in their ability to mirror our deepest fears while challenging our understanding of reality. They remind us that the past is never truly buried, that pain and injustice leave indelible marks on both people and places. As we walk their haunted halls, we are forced to confront not only the spirits said to inhabit them but also the ghosts within ourselves, the regrets, doubts, and unanswered questions that linger long after the wounds have healed. In doing so, we find a strange comfort in knowing that we are not alone in our fears, that others have walked these same paths and emerged, shaken but alive, to tell their stories. As we bring this chilling journey through New Mexico's most haunted places to a close, one thing becomes abundantly clear: the spirits of the past refuse to be silenced. Each creaking floorboard, each whispered name, and each fleeting shadow serves as a testament to lives lived, lost, and lingering in the spaces we dare to call haunted. These stories are more than mere campfire tales. They are fragments of history, stitched together by human emotion, tragedy, and the relentless passage of time. They remind us that the line between the living and the dead is far thinner than we might believe, and that sometimes, the most terrifying truths lie just beyond the veil. But why stop here? If these accounts have stirred something within you, a spark of curiosity, a shiver of excitement, I urge you to take the next step. Visit one of New Mexico's haunted places yourself. Walk the same halls where spirits are said to roam, stand in the rooms where history's echoes reverberate, and let the unknown brush against your senses. Whether you're a skeptic seeking proof or a believer eager to commune with the other side, these forsaken institutions offer an unparalleled opportunity to confront the mysteries that lie just beyond comprehension. There's nothing quite like experiencing the weight of decades-old despair firsthand, feeling the chill of a presence that defies explanation, or hearing the faint strains of voices from another time. And when you return, share your story. Did you feel the icy touch of a ghostly hand? Hear the faint tap of footsteps in an empty corridor? Or perhaps nothing happened at all, but isn't that silence just as intriguing? Your experiences add to the rich tapestry of lore surrounding these haunted places, ensuring their legacies endure for generations to come. Share your findings with fellow enthusiasts, document your journey, and keep the conversation alive. After all, every whisper contributes to the symphony of the supernatural. Until then, keep your lanterns lit and your courage steady. The spirits are waiting.